Hello and welcome to Esther's Gardening Adventures. I'm Esther, and I'm sitting on the floor of my sort of spare room slash canning stuff slash indoor garden stuff. And today I'm going to give you an update on how my indoor winter gardens are going. I'm going to talk a little bit about my plans and update on my community gardens. And while I do that, I'm going to pot up my indoor micro tomatoes because they're in desperate need of some more space to grow their roots. Let me start off by explaining what's going on here. So these are the Father's Frost micro tomatoes that I was growing up there. And there just wasn't enough. They were getting almost as tall as the distance between the shelves. This one in particular was taller than the lights. So I thought, well, how can I resolve this? And one of the things that I realized is I have this is basically a rack that I put our TV tray stands, you know, the ones that go in front of the couch. But we always leave them in front of our couches. So I thought, why not see if I can rig it with the LED lights? These are very lightweight, so they don't really need a huge amount of support. And I put the chain around this, and I just hung it like that. And now I've put these tomatoes here, the Father Frost tomatoes, and hopefully, and I had to kind of put a couple books down here on the floor to help level it out because this isn't quite as wide as the tray. But I'm going to pot them up anyway. But this will allow these plants, including especially this one, to grow higher. And for this one, I can raise this. I can raise this to as tall as this if needed for these plants. Now, one exciting development here is that the Father's Frost tomatoes are putting on flowers. So very soon we will have baby tomatoes coming. And I think that we might see some, yeah, I see some buds here as well. See that? I don't know if the light will let you see a couple buds right there on this tomato. So we're going to have some baby tomatoes. I'll show you how the other tomatoes are doing in a minute. I've got a couple of pots that I've used for over the years. I haven't cleaned these out, but these have been for indoor plants, so I'm not that worried about disease and stuff spreading. I've got some moistened potting mix here, and I'm not sure how much. I'll probably put this one and this one and this one and this one because, yeah, that'll still give it more room to grow. Okay. And I've already moistened the soil, so I'm just going to put a whole bunch in here at the bottom, and then I'll fill in around the plant. Now, I don't know if you know much about transplanting, but when you're going to transplant something, you just basically tip it upside down and support the base as much as you can. So you kind of do a V around the base of the tomato. Look at that. Look at those beautiful roots. Oh yeah, that's a happy tomato. So I took the empty container and I filled in the soil around it, and then I was able to plop the plant in. I've seen this done by other gardeners. I thought it was a good idea, and sure, it worked pretty well. And I'm gonna water it in. I've got some, well, the soil is already wet, but I wanna make sure these guys get fully settled. All right, let's get this tomato, let's see, a little bit higher. And because the soil is already wet, because the potting mix is already wet, it's already sort of compacted. You don't have to worry about it shrinking down as much. Yeah, that'll work. In fact, I'll just leave the tomato in there while I fill it around the pot a bit more. I watered these tomatoes a couple of days ago, so they should be fairly happy. They look pretty happy overall. Let's see. Okay. Oh yeah, you can see the bottom of this one's starting to get a little root bound. Not too bad though. Drop you in there. Oh, that fits perfect. Of course it does, but yeah, it's always nice to see. Put a little more in around the top to help fill in the edges a little bit. Move you over here. Yay! After potting up the tomatoes, I quickly realized that I needed to raise that light. So I spent about the next 10 minutes trying to figure out how to raise the light, and then once I'd raised the light, I had to figure out how to adjust where the plants sit. And I ultimately ended up using a completely different setup than I expected, but still this rack, and having one of the pots a little bit higher than the other. And it's sort of jerry-rigged, but you know, when you're working indoor gardening or generally gardening, use what resources you have at hand. You don't have to go buy special stuff. I got these crates at the dollar store, right? And I use them for shelving, organization, all kinds of stuff. And today they're being used as something to set the plants on. All right, so here's the rest of my winter garden, minus the one we just saw me potting up. Let me get closer and show you what's happening. But basically, almost all, in fact, all of the Pinocchio and Rosy Finch plants are flowering, and we have baby tomatoes. Let me show you. Isn't she gorgeous? Look at that little baby tomato. Oh, I'm so excited. I suspect they won't get much bigger than this, so for contrast, they're probably about the size of my thumb, right? So they're going to be mini cherry tomatoes. But I can tell you, to have this in a salad would be pretty divine. Yeah, all right, let's take a closer look at the others. This is another of the Pinocchio. Over here we have, this one is, oh, I can't remember if you're, okay, you're a Rosy Finch. You can see the Rosy Finch tomato kind of has more of a striping to it. The tomatoes are not very big either, but they're kind of cute, aren't they? Little fuzzy tomatoes. And also I've noticed the Rosy Finch tomatoes run out of water faster than the Pinocchio ones, and I think I definitely need to pot them up. I've been using liquid fertilizer to water them to help make sure they get the nutrients until I can pot them up. So that helps make sure that even though the roots don't have a lot of space to grow, they're still able to produce fruit. So you can see, yeah, all of them are setting fruit. And a quick update on my community garden plots. There's snow outside right now, and I haven't gone to the community garden. I doubt they've even shoveled the entrance or anything, so I'm not trying to go there right now till more things melt. The good news is I've been able to renew the leases for both of the community garden plots. It was a bit touch and go there for a while. They only let me renew one, and it wasn't the one of the two I wanted, but I was able to get the other one in time, and so I'm going to have the same gardening space, and I won't lose any of the things all the work I put into community gardens the last year and two, depending on which plot you're talking about. So we're all good to go for this year, and the winter sowing season's about to start in a week for me. So stick around, and I will see you in about a week with the first of my winter sowing. Okay, happy gardening.